Well, thank you, Victor. My name is Russell Mahoney, and I'm a third-year Master of Architecture student here. And this project is my 8th box project, and it's an ongoing theme of mine is housing for the masses. I've taken a great interest in it, especially over the past 6 months. And this project is a culmination of a few different projects that I've done over the past few years. And without further ado, I'll just get started on it. The project is in Philadelphia. It's a series of row houses on Diamond Street. The site is Philadelphia. Yeah, this is Philadelphia, and there's two rivers, the Delaware and the Schuylkill on this side. And the city is separated for two axes. One is Market Street, the other is Broad Street, and these are the subways as well. One's an elevated and a subway. My site is in the northern part of the city. It's traditionally the industrial part of the city, whereas Old City down here was, of course, where the Declaration of Independence was signed. Then Center City was developed later on, and then northern Philadelphia was developed during the industrial age. So that's where the wealth comes from. Its proximity is pretty close to public transportation, and walking distance to Temple University, and a short drive for public transportation from the city, or Center City rather. The situation that this block is encountering, a series of row houses, there's seven houses. This is the string, and they're currently considered blighted properties. Of the seven, 3 are controlled by the Philadelphia Housing Authority and are being auctioned off or given away for $1 if you develop them as low-income housing. The other 3 properties, 2 are in tax liens over 10 years, and 1 is for sale. And then, no, I'm sorry, 3 are in tax liens and 1 is for sale. It's been on the market for almost 10 years, and they're asking prices 9 to 10. So, just to talk about what happens in this type of neighborhood over the years, I won't read all these off to you, but the process goes that the houses have become prisons during troubled times to the people, the residents of the neighborhood. So instead of keeping criminals out, they become in their house and making themselves feel like criminals. So what I want to do is open the doors back up and rejuvenate the neighborhood through architectural influence. You can see the condition of the properties. The back of this house has already fallen off, and the 2 that you see without the pediments or porticos here the roofs have already fallen in. Oh, and another one small note is, notice where I've taken this picture from. It's across the street at a great distance. I'd say over 75 feet. This is what I plan to do in the neighborhood, activating it through shelling out the properties and using those as sculptural aspects to what I'm going to build inside. I've determined that at 75 feet, Diamond Street is a huge distance, incapable of supporting any type of serious social activity. So I'd like to make a micro street, this red line, through the center of the building, and then create a more closer-knit development within the community, allowing for this red zone. It can be private to semi-private to semi-public. The yellow spaces would be a public entrance, so it would create this new stoop or porch type environment. And then the green zones are more like the backyards, which fall into more semi-private rather than semi-public, which means that you're more likely to walk onto someone's front porch to knock on the door to enter a house, but you would never walk around to the back door unless you were very close to that family or the person you were visiting. So creating these 3 environments, I would hope we're going to start activating some of the culture, and I'll go into that in a few slides. Then once you do arrive into these buildings, this is what a section would look like through a delivered system. It's prefabricated and modular, built off-site, has moved into the location after it's shelled out, it would create these are those zones we were just talking about down here. The private zone going through the center of the building, so that's semi-public, and then the semi-private areas back here. So, but once you come in, then the environment that I've created through this modular prefabricated system would create open space, natural lighting, terraces and rear decks, a roof garden. So really creating truly private space for each person to occupy once they do come through that more public zones. This is structurally what has to happen to these buildings. There's a process called shotcreting, which is reinforcing. They use it in California a lot to reinforce old buildings. Need to be updated for seismic loads. So you basically, I'm gutting out everything. This is taken from the back of that building. You know, this, I think I cut off a bit, but you can see over here there's an empty lot and a wrecking ball over there, because where I took that picture from, the houses which were mirror image of these have already been knocked down. So it's kind of interesting how close the wrecking ball is to these properties, which is why you can really get them for $1. So after we got out all the floors, roof, installing trellis systems to hold it in as a temporary brace, and then shotcreting the sides, and you could do all types of creative things like creating this column out of shotcrete that will eventually hold the system that gets in place. The structures that will be built off-site get moved in with a crane and just dropped into the trellis and shifted over about 6 feet underneath the other one, and then the same thing goes on top. So everything, about 90% of it is built off-site, and then it's just finishing on-site some of the that you need to do.